welcome. My name is Neil Thrussell, and I'm really excited to have my friend Coach Scotty on the show. And I've known Coach Scotty was my friend first. He was my running coach, and in the order of what I think his priorities are, he's a husband, he's a father. Somewhere in all of that craziness, he's a triathlete, he's an author, and a coach. So welcome, Scotty.
Thank you, Neil. It's really great to be here.
So we're just gonna jump right in. We did our preconditioning and our warm-up exercises prior. So Scott, we're gonna go back to a younger version of you. Maybe it was the Scotty before you got into fitness. Maybe it was the high school Scotty. What is a version of success that a younger you had?
Successful for younger, I think probably was the silly things like a house and a car and a family. I guess they're not silly, but sort of material, a good stereo and the best VCR, was a little bit more material. And then it's matured as it's gone forward. And if you go back to when I was way younger, I think it would be more towards autonomy and having control of my world and removing things versus would have been more what it's not versus what it is. If I look back at my younger self, it was not being in the environment that I was in and not have no bullies and not living in a house where everybody smoked, and it was more not than what it was in a sense. And then as I've grown, it's changed. It's very different now than it was then.
And to get to where you are now, of course it was completely linear, like straight line. You knew back then you were going to be right where you are, sitting in that chair. You knew without a doubt.
No. I have a button for that, Neil. Yeah, that's not how that went. No, definitely not a linear thing.
Like most people, there's been some trials and tribulations on your path, and we haven't defined what Scotty thinks a success is yet, but on your path to get from where you were to here, what was in you to keep you moving? Because there was lots of times in your life that you may have just sat down on the ground and had a big old cry or whatever, but what got you back up? What got you moving forward?
That's a good question. It's been reflected back to me a lot of times where I had to actually realize who I was being. A lot of times I would look at my failures, look at, oh, I didn't do this, or I didn't achieve that, or I didn't succeed here, or I didn't get that done, or I failed at that, or I couldn't do this. And it took a long time before somebody looked at me and said, your strongest quality is that you never quit. You never give up. It doesn't matter how hard it is. You never quit. And somehow that's kind of inherent. I don't know how I could define that, but just this, I never quit. I always keep striving for whatever my goal is. And I think having that goal is an important piece. You need to know, to me, I need to know what I'm striving for. But then it's about whenever I have a goal or an agenda, it doesn't matter if it's a course or it's a race or a monetary amount to earn this month or whatever it is, I become pretty relentless when I'm fixed on a goal.
Oh, so a word we could use is a couple words we could use is focused and relentless. So now you're sitting in a padded room all by yourself. The world is around you and you're exactly where you want to be. So what does success mean for you now? How would you define what success is?
Yeah, it's very different for me now. One of my mentors a long time ago talked about, T. Harv Eker talked about success being the ability to go to a restaurant and order whatever you wanted to eat, but never looking at the right-hand side of the menu. Right? It doesn't matter if it's an $800 steak or you don't have to worry about it. You just order what you want. I'm not there yet, but in the practical sense, I am to a degree. And success to me now is really having the creature comforts handled and really enjoying the moments in life and the ooey gooey good stuff. Like if you've ever seen the movie Inside Out, um, is it Inside Out? Yeah, the
I
brain
think
one.
it is Inside Out. Yep.
Yeah, Pixar, where there's the happy, there's joy and sadness and anger and fear. There's all those little personalities. And when the character Riley she's got her islands, her main elements in her brain that are the core beliefs, the core pieces. And then it would show her learning how to hockey skate with her parents. And there's a certain kind of music playing, and that's that core value being built. And I love those moments. I have a beautiful young boy, he's 10, and I'm building his Halloween costume with him this year from scratch. It's taken us over a week. And to me, that's the success to me, is that my life is handled enough that I can pause work or whatever, and I can just be with my son making a Lord of the Rings Sauron costume from scratch with cutout bits of foam and a hot glue gun and spray paint and all of that. And I can hear the music from Inside Out playing, and we're building a core memory. And at some point, 30 years from now, he's going to look back and he's going to remember that dad made the time to build my Halloween costume, and it took us 2 weeks, and it was all of that. And so to me, that's the success piece, is that ability, that freedom. This summer, my wife and I and my son, we went to Waterton Parks in Alberta, and we spent 10 days. And we rented this cabin in the woods. It was phenomenal. And we just were. And I was able to pause work and not be stressed, and the bills are paid, and I could just be. To me, that's success. When you're not the hamster on the wheel constantly trying to just spin, there's a moment where you get out of the wheel and enjoy.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because I've known your journey, and some of the journey to get to this. I will say the elephant in the room, because I don't believe if you still would have owned your gym, you would have had the 10 days. So
Nope.
as it's horrific, because I still feel for you that you lost. No, you chose to park the gym and move on. And
Mhm.
that's just part of evolution. As hard as it was, that got you to this freedom piece.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, I've been a personal trainer for 25 years, and I owned a 15,000 square foot gym for 18 years. I had 27 staff, 800 to 1,000 members, a great big gym, a family run gym. It was my life for a lot of my life. For 18 years, I worked 60 to 100 hours a week, averaged about 80. And it's just all I did. And everything was wrapped around that. We won Business of the Year multiple times. I won Citizen of the Year. We volunteered a ton. We created events. We did the Zombie Run and the Father's Day Run, the Terry Fox Run, and the Half Ironman Triathlon. We did all this great stuff. It was great. And it was sufferingly difficult to run. It was economically, honestly, not viable for a long time. And I kept making it work. I kept forcing it to stay and keeping it going in spite of all odds and horrendous sacrifices. And when COVID hit in 2020 and all gyms were shut down, at first I was going to do my old pattern. I was just going to warrior. I was just going to fight. We're going to do online programs. We're going to do all this stuff. And then I went, whoa, hang on a second. What are you doing? And honestly, I don't know where you're at with, well, I think I do, with God and the universe and great spirit, but it was just a whoosh, let it go. Just let it go. And I was like, what? I can't. And I just knew on a cellular level it was over. And I did the math. I talked to my accountant. I talked to my business coach. And they just confirmed what I knew, is that it was over. And so I let my staff know. We sold off all of our equipment. We found a church, ironically, to rent the building. So this was in March, and they started renting in October. So it was a long process, but so that took care of some things. And then I was out and it was done. My equipment was sold off. The staff were all paid, bills all paid, members taken care of. Anybody that had a prepaid membership was taken care of. And then I was free. And I was like, okay, well, what do you want to do with your life now? Now what? And I circled right back to the fact that I love coaching people. I love training people. I love helping people. I love teaching nutrition. And now it's the biggest gift in the world, the biggest trauma, the biggest challenge, the biggest holy crap, what's going on? The biggest leap off of a cliff without wings has become the most beautiful thing. I get to train people and coach people all the time. I have people that I train online. I have people that are just overjoyed with how great their life is because I've in some way been able to coach them. And I'm home for my family. I'm home for my son. Every day I sit in my little room and I create. Neil, I just am in awe at the perfection that has come out of madness.
And for those listeners and viewers, wherever you're tuning into, you have to remember the statement that Scott said at the beginning. He doesn't quit. He doesn't stop when he has a goal. So for Scott to go, I need to let something go that I had 18 years of my family, my life invested. Somewhere there was a small little story going in that was given, or a thump on the head that was given to Scott to say, hey, turn left. And he could have chosen not to, and there would have been whatever would have occurred. We don't know because he didn't turn that way, but instead he chose to embrace the unknown. And I think people that are ultra or uber successful are willing to turn into the storm and face the unknown, which is a beautiful example of in the moment. I'm going to say, oh, Scotty, you're going to be successful when you're in the midst of trying to sell your everything in your gym and people are whatever. Oh, Scott, that's called bullcrap. That wouldn't have worked. But in hindsight,
Yeah.
and so let's go back to, or let's not go back to, let's go to someone, uh, someone, whoever the best fitness coach is, whoever the best life coach, financial coach, a hockey player, a triathlete, whoever it is in your life that you know is at their pinnacle of success, has reached that. What do you think some of the things, or what are the they've done that the average person is not doing to get them there, to get them to that height of success?
Excellent. And I do want to dovetail back to one piece and say, understand that exiting the gym was pure and really hard. I made that decision. I knew that was the decision. I can still remember we were shut down on a Tuesday and it was Wednesday night and I ugly balled on my computer at my desk until 2 a.m. I heave balled at the loss. And I knew it was the right decision. And if you ask me about somebody who's super successful, I know for a fact from all those people that I've met, it's a laser focus on the goal, because the reason why they wanted it was so powerful that the how didn't matter. You just adjust, correct, and continue. Whatever comes up, it's like, oh, well, I'll figure it out. Oh, well, I'll figure it out. And it's that relentless pursuit of whatever it is you're seeking. And I know that for a lot of people, they'll tell me, they'll say, well, coach, I don't know what I want. Okay, well, that's step one. and they're like, well, I don't know how do I get that? I don't know what I want. Great. Let's make a list. I want you to write down 100 things that you don't want. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be injured. I don't want to have a disease. I don't want to be alone. It doesn't matter. Make your list. And the first 10 are easy.
Yep.
The next 10, you'll have to think. The next 10 after that are gonna be like, well, I don't know. And then you're gonna start to get really creative. And now you've got a list of 100 things you don't want. Well, what you do want is the opposite.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, I don't want to be poor. Great. Well, what does it look like to not? What's the opposite? How do you be wealthy? So clarity is huge. I'm a big fan of vision boards. I have, I don't know, 5 or 6 vision boards that I've done over the years where you go online or you take a magazine and you rip out pictures that speak to you, or words that jump at you, or things that look like, this is what I want to be, have, do, become, and you stick them all on a big board, and then you put it somewhere where you can see it once in a while. I'm a big fan of creating your vision. Architect your life. It's your life. People think, oh, but you don't understand, Coach Scotty. Like, I had this really tough childhood, and I broke my back, and I
Or
destroyed
Scotty, Game of Thrones is on tonight. Or whatever the next Netflix
yeah,
super series is
yeah,
on that I just have to watch.
yeah. You don't understand. I've had a really tough day, and you know what? I get it. And I've had a really crazy childhood too. I could tell you stories, make your toes curl. Fine. Doesn't matter. That's the story. And
Yep.
people need to understand, you're not the story. You're the typewriter. You're the typewriter. You get to write the next chapter.
Oh, but that's so hard, Scott.
Yep. Yep. And
And
worth it.
it's just the story that we perpetuate to keep us stuck.
Yeah, because it is hard. It's always, even right now, my life is amazing and beautiful, and I love it. And it's hard. It's challenging. I have to work every day, and I got to create things, and then I can take space. I can take bits and pieces, and it's still there. Like, it's not straightforward. Like, it doesn't just happen. You got to make it happen.
Yeah, because then he's got friends like me that are going, Scotty, where's your book? Where's your book, Scotty? And
Coming.
he's typing away and working at it, but I'm never going to say to Scotty, because he's choosing to spend quality time that he could never get back with his son. Like,
Yeah.
yes, he could ignore his son and then they're both in therapy later on dealing with it, or he can spend the time now, which Scott has made an active choice. And to me, that's one of the paramount pieces of success, is when you're choosing what it is, actively choosing, and life isn't choosing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, how is this possible? Whenever Scotty and I get Scotty on a podcast, it's like we're almost always out of time. It's like, so as we go forward, and because we're now pretty darn close to the end, is there something that you would like to, words of wisdom, a little tidbit, a little something about you, a free gift or anything like that, or how to connect with you a little better before we end the program?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you alluded to the book, and I am writing a book. I'm 113,000 words into it right now, which is great. It's the story of my near-death crash at the Ultraman World Championships in 2015. I crashed at just under 70 kilometers an hour on a bicycle on day 2, and made a miraculous recovery, and was a very difficult time to 2018 getting back to the World Championships and being 25th in the world. So it's a book about that. It's motivational. It's inspiring. ScottyFit.com is the best place to find me. And I do 21-day nutrition resets, and you reach out to me, I'd be happy to send you. I do daily mindset videos, and one of them is about the 12 things I've learned about fitness and health and nutrition in the past 25 years.
Only 12? And for me personally, I've done one version of the 21-day nutrition reset, and as with all programs, they're continually improving and evolving. So I don't know what the most recent one is, but the one that I took, I had a green detox smoothie today.
Yeah, they're awesome. It's, in 25 years, the 21-day nutrition reset is one of my favorite things I've ever created. You get a 90 paid manual, private Facebook group. You get daily 4 to 10 minute videos from me about teaching, about nutrition, fitness, but more importantly, mindset and social situations and psychology and how to manage the world around trying to eat well and be healthy when the rest of the world isn't up to that. The rest of the world is up to fast food and junk and quick and convenient, and not taking care of yourself. And so how do you balance that? How do you bring that forth? And it's ooey gooey good. I love it. It's my favorite thing to do. I have people that are off medication, their inflammation's gone, their knees don't hurt, their sleep is better, their energy's through the roof. They're not drinking coffee anymore because they don't need it. They can have one if they want, but it's not a crutch. Like it's I love what I get to do to help and coach people.
The easiest way is I'm going to say, if it's interest you, just go to scottyfit.com and check it out. And I want to say thank you, because I know how busy you can be, or you could have been out on a run or whatever. So thank you, Scott, for being part of this.
You are so welcome, Neil. It's a pleasure. I hope that in some way we've helped somebody today, and I just love what you're up to.
Thank you.